Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Seekers of the Sea, where we are going to try to bring back the Seers of the Sea with our little Kai, who is actually going to be leading the way. And isn't she just so adorable, covered in her little spots with her tiny itty bitty little fingers that can hopefully crack open all of those shells and guide the future of this little lost tribe. I'm very excited about that. And if you guys are a little confused, this is the first episode of the Seekers of the Sea, but I actually went ahead and made a prologue episode not too long ago. Hopefully it was just a short while ago that you can go back and you can watch in order to catch up with all of the different stories about who each one of these Nichelings are, where they are from, and where they're going. And from now on, I will have linked in the video description a link to a Word document that will cover the rules that we will be following this time as well, because I always love to add a pinch of challenge into things. But I don't want to drag on with the rules, as I often tend to do, any longer. So after this just little mentioning that that's where you can find it, I will not be explaining how the different culture parts of our tribe work. We are simply going to move forward. So I hope that will help keep our story going, and I hope it will help all of you to have a place to refer to the fact that this is going to be a really fun adventure, and to just understand like why we make the choices we do. For instance, the fact that we cannot assign any of the mutations just yet, and the fact that we would have little Kai, who is quite curious in her own way, and thankfully she is not the only one who happens to be carrying the seer ability either. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grant Kai a white gemstone, like we talked about before, to note that she actually has the seer's whispering to her. Should I make her all white? She does have two of the traits. She has white fur and one thing of white fur at least, and she does have nimble fingers. And then little Nari, to my surprise, randomized in, even with his sticky tongue, but he randomized in with fishing tail, he randomized in with one nimble finger, and red horns. It's not red antlers, but there's enough there that actually little Nari can probably be taught how to be a seer as well, though he doesn't know it at this age. He just wants to run around with his twin brother Naru. But alright, so you guys know the story, you guys know the rules, you guys know the culture that this tribe will follow. So let's go ahead and begin. I do believe that Trumpet, very first thing that the cranky old man would do, would be to jump up, find food, and declare proudly, "I found some schlop." So he would be very happy that he found even more food. I think that Bawav, let's see what Bawav's abilities are. He's a much better fisher, and he can breathe underwater more than anything. I think Bawav would try to tell Trumpet, "This is no time for us to slow down and get even more food, old man. You brought plenty with us. We should be searching the waters and seeing if there are any other survivors from that storm that tore through our tribe, and possibly try to find our way back." And I do believe that Shopri, being quite enchanted with the very handsome Bawave, would not really listen to Trumpet saying like, "But this is the schlop. We should take more schlop. There's a lot of hungry mouths, and I know you guys are going to eat all of it, so we should be taking more." She can actually do a bit of collecting, but she can't really do much else. So I think what we'll have her do, we're going to have Bawave scoff, and he's going to dive into the waters. Aha! And he is actually going to find some delicious fish right away, which I do think would have Shopri just absolutely cooing with admiration. So we're going to have her go ahead and clear away the grass, because she would definitely want to have a great view of what Bawave is up to, and hopefully give him a great view of her beautiful emerald fur, which she is extremely proud about. And just casually, she might snag a fresh berry to eat. Then over here, we do have little Naru, who can collect berries, and so can Nari. I think that both of the boys would be very excited by the splashing sounds of the waters and by watching the strong Bawave dive into the ocean. So they're going to go ahead and start tumbling over to see what they're up to. And I think Kai, quietly, would begin to walk along the shores, her ears pricked and trying to make out the gentle whispering that she hears, trying to understand exactly what's calling to her and where they're from. So this would be quite mysterious. They're like the whispering of grass, but on the waves. Aha! More fish! Okay, no shells yet, though. We might not be able to find shells in the archipelago, which would be ironic because this is such a beautiful place. I don't think I have actually ever discovered these lovely, lovely sands before. I mean, look at all of this. I don't see any kelp anywhere, though, which is very surreal. But we definitely might try swimming around these waters and maybe seeing what we can find, which would be very fun because I've never really been somewhere like this before. All right, well, let's carry on. Poor old man Trumpet is quite old, so I'm not sure how long he will be with us. But let's see. We'll have Balwave dive after the fish first thing. And then, since he can breathe underwater, boldly dive under the waves, which I think would have Shoptree running after him a little bit, frantic and eager not to lose sight of him, and maybe pawing at the waves nervously. She cannot swim, or she cannot breathe underwater, I should say. She has one little tiny ability to swim, and the twins are going to tumble after her. And I think Trumpet will jump down, and while he snags up a couple more berries for the food supply, yell at Shoptree that you can't just go leaving the youngins without anybody to watch over them. They're too small to be able to run after us yet. Go at their pace and at the pace of my old bones, won't ya? So I think that Shoptree would feel a little embarrassed to be so caught up with Balwave, and also a little frustrated to be saddled with taking care of the young ones. They aren't her twins, they're just the tribe's twins, and where are the rest of the tribe members? Meanwhile, let's have little Kai continue to explore along here, and she found where there is a little mole. Oh, it's so cute. They have similar spots. I don't think she could bring herself to attack the little stag mole. He's just far too adorable. They're both spotty, and look at her reflection in the water. Oh, I cannot wait for her to find some shells. I really hope there are some here. But I do think that she would pull away the grasses and try to figure out if he is the sound that she heard. But of course, he is not. All right, so let's see what's next. A shell! Oh, happy days! What wondrous wonder is this? Oh my gosh. I think that Shoptree might exclaim over seeing something so pretty in the water. So let's go ahead and have Kai start. Oh my gosh, and there's another one. Well, Kai is busy. Oh, there's leeches! Watch out for the leeches! So Kai is going to be quite busy playing with the stag moles and trying to climb her way over to where I'm sure that Shoptree's excited voice suddenly rang out about the very pretty thing that she just found. Let's see. Balwave cannot actually get shells, so I don't think he'd be interested. But, what's this? Oh, there are shells deep under the water, too. I actually forgot that there could be shells inside of the ocean. Hopefully we can find some of the mysterious plants that we can actually go ahead and let Kai eat from so that she can swim into the waves and find these shells to break them open and read the blessings or the warnings from the ancestors to the tribe. Meanwhile, Balwave, well, he's going to come over. And he just found a bunch of kelp, which is very exciting because now he can swim back up with quite a bit of it. And coo at the cooing Shoptree, they reminded me of your fur. So he's not immune to the fact that there's a fangirl on the shore waiting for him. And I think they're adapting a little faster than Trumpet, who is very insistent that the kids these days, they just don't have what it took. Back in my day, we would have run straight for the rest of the tribe, acting like they can survive on their own. Honestly, who do they think they are? I think that he'd like this rock, though. I think that Trumpet, he's just the kind of guy to like a good rock. That may seem extremely silly, but he just likes things that are stable and steady and they make sense, and a rock makes sense. It may not make a lot of sense, because there's not a lot to a rock, but I do think he'd appreciate the fact that a rock makes sense. Alright, little Nari will continue to play along the shore. When it comes to the lifespans that I set my nichelings at, babies will be babies much shorter in this tribe since we are going to be angling, no pun intended, actually totally a pun intended. ourselves towards a water tribe. So the babies will stay babies for 2 days, but to trade off, the children will be children for a bit longer, and the teenagers will be teenagers for a bit longer. Kind of to go along with how creatures who are born in the water tend to need to be able to swim and get moving a lot quicker than creatures born on land. Even a baby whale will need to be pushed up to the surface and figure out how to swim very, very quickly with its mother. I'm quite curious actually if we had underwater breathing nichelings, like some mermaids that I might be dreaming of far in the future of this tribe. No, not too many spoilers there, I hope. But I am quite curious to know if you can actually have nests underwater, so that would be interesting to see. But alright, let's see how everybody's doing. Oh, they're not babies anymore, they're proper kids! Oh, get rid of that leech! There we go. Ball wave. Oh no, did he get leeched anyway? He got rid of the leech, but he got leeched anyway, and now he's facing down a Razorina. Get out of there, Ball wave. Okay, this is your chance, Shopri. As soon as he pops back out of the water, you can go ahead and jump down there and pull the leech off and coo at him all you want. And meanwhile, can we get these two in the water yet? I don't think we can, but I do think that Nari would be very curious about the wiggling that he sees under the surface here. We're gonna go ahead and give him another white gemstone, since he does have the ability, once Kai teaches him, to read the shells in order to discover what the seers, or like what the sea might say. But he is an insectivore, and I think that he'd be curious about the insects that are right there. So we'll have him try to get the insects out of there. And little Naru, I think, would have just gotten roped into having to help with picking off the berries from this bush. Because I think at this point, Trumpet's just settled back with his rock and with his bush. And he's kind of just like grunting to himself, well, if this is where I'm gonna kick the bucket, I'm gonna have a full belly. You feed me right, like you pick those off and help me, youngin'. So I don't really like Trumpet, I'm gonna miss him. But I knew I wanted to start with an elder for sure. Meanwhile, Kai is going to continue her way. Oh my gosh, the Kai. She started off with so many stag mole friends that she can't even get over to where the shell is just yet. Oh, I love it. That's so cute. She's a friend of the stag moles. Alright, Barwave, you're gonna want to get out of the water. Who's hurt? Is that Barwave? He is hurt. He's not taking any damage just yet, but he's going to pull himself up out of the waters, bleeding and wounded, which is practically going to make Shopri faint with alarm. But she's going to go ahead and remove that parasite. She's going to go ahead, cure the bleeding. And then perhaps she's even going to throw herself at Balwave, and his bravery dealing with the leech in the water. Oh, she can't stand it. What would happen to him next time he dives into the water and searches for fish to feed the tribe? You're so brave, Balwave. Oh, it didn't work. I think that he's like sort of like licking his leech wound and like, yeah, now's not really the time. So alright, I don't think that he's terribly interested in that right now, but we're gonna send him back into the water because I do think that he's interested in continuing his exploration. So good try, Shopri, but it simply did not work. Meanwhile, Kai has discovered these nuts that her friends, the stag moles, have introduced her to, and is now popped out the other side from her little explorations. Where's my shell? The shell, I think, has disappeared. What nonsense is this? Where are my shells? And Shopri is going to tell Kai all about the beautiful shells that she saw, but more importantly, the way that Ba Wei fought off that evil leech and came back wounded and bleeding and chased by the most giant Razorina you've ever seen, easily the size of a boulder. And we're going to go ahead and we are going to allow Trumpet to settle himself down, gather up the last of the food that he wants to eat, and gather the boys around him, and try to impart a little bit of his hard-earned wisdom on their heads before he goes, which I'm sure they would very much appreciate. So they're gonna, oh no, a leech is coming for us again. But they're going to go ahead and try to make him comfortable and spend a little bit of time with old man Trumpet, who is just going to have to hope that however this odd land goes, well kids, it's all you got now. There's no evidence of their old tribe behind them, and only the future ahead. So good luck, youngins. Good luck. Rest in peace, Trumpet. Well, That just happened so darn soon. Oh, but because we are actually toxic bodied, I don't believe this leech can eat us. However, Nari and Naru and the rest of the tribe possibly beginning to feel the pressure of their mortality now that they have lost the only elder among them. I do think that they would begin to feel a little bit more pressure, actually. I think Nari is going to grab that leech out of curiosity and find himself a new delicacy that he very much enjoys, but still think that it's a bit of an awkward time to think about such things, so he's going to gather up what grass he can, and so will his brother? Skipjack the squirrel friend? I feel like we just had, he's a nicheling baby who was raised by stag moles. It's amazing. Come on in, buddy. Like, what the heck? What the heck, little guy? Welcome to Skipjack, who I can only feel is an orphan who had been being raised by the stag moles under this tree. And when Kai came through and proved herself not to eat or attack the stag moles and shared the nuts that she found with them, I think it made him comfortable enough to come out and see other creatures. Look at them, like you. I can't remember that song in Tarzan now, and I used to love it. Now I just need to turn that Tarzan song on. Alright, so this is really cool. We just found an orphan raised by stag moles. Welcome, Skipjack, and you've got Heat Body too. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. Alright, well, let's go ahead and wrap up today. We're going to let Bawave actually swim around. He will start collecting what he can. Can he get that? We can't get that Razorina. But I think he will begin to collect the kelp, and he will take it back up to Shopri, who waits eagerly for him by the side of the waters. I don't think she has noticed that there is a new nicheling here just yet, but she's trying to make the ground look quite pretty, gather up some refreshing treats for Bawave when he reappears. And I think that Kai, despite the fact I wish we could have her cracking open shells and telling the fortunes of the nichelings, Kai is not going to be able to ignore the fact that there is a new nicheling amongst them. And he is too young to do Jack, little Skipjack. And you may notice the name theme on many of our nichelings, my friends. I do have a gigantic name list full of different ocean animal names and fish names. I have many more I need to keep adding, but we also have different syllables to do with colors and fish or shells. So we may end up with some really interesting names like azure shell for 2 syllables that might come together. We'll have to go ahead and see how that all comes together for our nichelings. But welcome to the little, like, stag mole orphan, and welcome Kai, to meeting him. This is so cool. But alright, I hope you guys are enjoying. This is already, I'm remembering why I love niche so much and why I love their adventures so much. I really can't wait to see where we are able to take our tribe next, especially because this is a much simpler challenge than we normally do, and especially because this is going to be so story driven since our nichelings, trumpet excluded, will now live so long. So thank you guys so much for joining me. If you could, do please leave a like to drop some nuts on the ground for our little stag mole orphan. If you would like to join us on this and literally thousands more adventures, do please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye!